Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Notre Dame fans. Whenever you are tuning in to this week's Notre Dame recruiting update, appreciate you for making us a part of your day. Got Mike Singer and Kyle Kelly live with you. We run the blue and gold recruiting operation and have a lot to discuss 5 days ahead of National Signing Day. We'll talk about 2027 recruiting news, talk about signing day around the corner, but we are going to start by talking about Academy Sports and Outdoors. The holiday season is here, and Academy has the legendary gifts you need at undefeatable prices every day. So shop in-store or online at academy.com to save on gifts on everybody's list, from football jerseys and basketball hoops to fire pits and deer stands. The most wonderful time of the year happens here. So this holiday season, give the gift of fun from Academy Sports and Outdoors. Got K-Mac in the chat. Knight here asked about a Matt Sig prediction. Watch our live show from last week. We went from A to Z on that recruitment from a Notre Dame perspective. Lucas is in the chat. Good morning, lads. Coffee has been brewed. The sun is shining. It's time for some recruiting news. Make sure you get that coffee going at like 9 o'clock tomorrow as well. I will be drinking coffee at like midnight on Saturday. Sunday morning, I guess, technically. A lot to discuss. Sly Fox and Bob says Kyle is great. How about Kyle the Great? How about that? Kyle, you doing all right, brother?
Yeah, for sure. I was just looking through my email, and even though I'm a On3 employee, I still got the exclusive discount for our Black Friday special. So I found that amusing. But yeah, I mean, is there any way to start off the show than that? Like, how about what we got running right now on Blue and Gold? Best deal of the year, man. 50% off an annual subscription. Gets you Blue and Gold. So access to all our intel and premium content, all our Notre Dame coverage, On3 National, Rivals National, and guess what? For new subscribers, look at that. The little disclaimer underneath Ultimate Fan Bundle. A year to the Athletic.
I mean, Kyle, if you even spend 10 minutes a day like reading, like this is so worth like this for half off. Look, I before I joined On3 in January 1, 2022, I was at Rivals for a long time. And no disrespect to like the old Rivals brand. Like, of course, On3 purchased Rivals earlier this year. But like that old Rivals, the national part of the subscription did not really bring you a ton. It just didn't. Now, dude, our parent company, right, On3, the national scoop from guys like Pete Nakos and Brett McMurphy and who's the other guy? Chris Lowe. I'm just thinking of his Twitter. Yeah, Chloe on Twitter. Phenomenal. The Rivals with Chad Simmons and Steve Wiltfong and Hayes Fawcett, tremendous. So just the national side alone is awesome. If you're just a college football fan, of course, and Notre Dame, they're reporting on Notre Dame. Lowe had a one-on-one with Marcus Freeman a couple weeks ago. Then, of course,
one-on-one.
Extensive one-on-one. Of course, to Blue and Gold specifically, I mean, the $60 is just worth it on Blue and Gold. Like, it is tremendous value. And then you throw in a full year of access to the Athletic. So now you can read Pete Sampson. Like, Pete's great. Like, and then the Athletic covers, NFL and, heck, Premier League, baseball, hockey. I mean, if you're just a sports fan, you need to subscribe. Like, this is the deal. Sign up. If you've ever thought about it, just take the plunge. Just take the plunge. If you don't like it for the year, you can let me know about it. Let me know. But you'll love it.
Can I share a secret with you? I'm going to.
I don't know, Kyle. Do I want you to share a secret? I don't know where you're going with this.
Before I started my employment with On3 in, I think it was February of 20.
It's 22 or 23. I can never remember. It's probably 23.
This is my third season, basically, with On3 and Rivals. I subscribed to On3 because of how great the content was. I mean, the national.
Well, yeah, you needed to know what your competitor was writing.
I saw all this. I mean, like, this is when Chad Simmons, started out at On3. He was his director of recruiting. Like, he did such an amazing job at the start. Chad's still on staff. We got Steve Wiltfong, who is such a great contributor to our Notre Dame coverage. And I'll end with this: is like, the most exciting part about this discount is the time that it's being offered. Because guess what? In about 6 weeks, we're gonna be getting transfer portal, and that is always the juiciest time of the year for intel, scoop, who Notre Dame's going after, what positions they're targeting, who from Notre Dame could be leaving the roster. It's also going to be coaching movement season. Like, there's a couple guys on the Notre Dame coaching staff that I feel like are long overdue for promotion. So, we're gonna have all that covered at Blue and Gold, and we have a hell of a staff, man. 6 full-time guys covering Notre Dame. It really doesn't get better. So,
Yeah.
anyway, a long way to say we hope you join us on this Black Friday for a significantly discounted price.
Yeah, that transfer portal window, January 2nd through the 16th. And then could be later if Notre Dame continues on in the playoff for like Notre Dame specific. Although the Irish added players in late December, but didn't have anyone depart until, of course, later in the month of January. Well, let's dive into it. Of course, folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video and subscribe to Blue and Gold, this YouTube channel for more content. And like we plugged you for like 5 minutes there, please subscribe to our website. Kyle, let's talk about first a discussion about just like the class. Signing day is next Wednesday, whatever day of the month that falls on. I think it's the 3rd. Matt Sig prediction. I just looked down on my phone and one of my buddies said, "What happens if they add Sig?" Like, this is why you need to subscribe to the site. If you just watch these YouTube videos, you might miss one or here or there. You're just missing on the reporting. We already reported Notre Dame's not in the mix for Matt Sig anymore. We've talked about that at length. We're not going to do that anymore. You can read about it at blueandgold.com. Watch our show last week, but Notre Dame really is not involved with anyone else. Could that change in the next 5 days? Sure, but Notre Dame in this 2026 class is fairly done. They have the number 3 class in the country, and I noticed this last night. It was like 9 o'clock on Thanksgiving, so I didn't report on it or anything. But Notre Dame did move up to number 3 in the Rivals Industry ranking. So was it this week or was it last week? I don't remember. But in the past 10 days or so, Rivals updated their recruiting rankings, and 24/7 did. And as Tyler James noted to me on the Blue and Gold message board, this average number of commits used in the ranking score bumped up to from 17 to 18. So all of these things combined, like Notre Dame and Oregon have kind of been flip-flopping between 3 and 4 for the past several months. Notre Dame is now in the number 3 spot. Not a big advantage in 93.217 compared to a 93.124. But it looks like it's gonna take a good bit for Notre Dame to fall out of the top 5. At this point, number 6 is Bama right now with a 92 point. Let's just round it up, 92.7 compared to Notre Dame's 93.2. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you already have this many commitments and whatnot, that's a pretty big jump. So, just looking at Notre Dame's class again, per the Rivals industry ranking, Notre Dame has 4 5 stars. Kyle, I did a little digging. In the internet era, using the Rivals industry ranking, Notre Dame has never signed more than 3 5 stars.
Please make my day and tell me that you were able to extract the information from the spreadsheet.
Well, okay, wait. I think they've maybe done 3 twice. Now, in the 2013 class, your spreadsheet only had them with 1 industry 5-star. It is 2. It's Jalen Smith and Max Redfield. That is the last time that Notre Dame's even signed 2 5 stars in one class, was 2013.
Man, that's a major mistake if I didn't.
And then they went a dozen years without even signing another industry ranking 5-star. Now, when I say industry ranking, that is weighing all of the industry rankings and on 3/Rivals puts them into a formula. And yeah, you've had years where Notre Dame signs like a Rivals 5-star, an on 3 5-star before on 3 purchase Rivals, right? Or, hey, Bryce Young's a 24/7 5-star, but just using that industry ranking, they have 4 5 stars committed right now in Rodney Dunham, Kari Adams, Ian Premer, and Joey O'Brien. Yeah, they haven't done multiple 5-stars in a class since 2013, and they've never signed 4 5-stars. And the On3 industry, or excuse me, the Rivals industry ranking goes back to 2004, I believe. So you're looking at 22, 23 years, whatever that number is. That's damn impressive. This class is phenomenal. And that 2013 class was top 5. Notre Dame has not signed top 5 since then. So this is pretty much on pace for Notre Dame's best class ever in the internet era. This is incredible.
Did you hear the news this morning?
What's that, Kyle?
Jared Curtis, top 5 player in the 26 class, 5-star plus quarterback, who is verbally committed to Georgia, could be trending to Vanderbilt, the hometown team. Clark Lee, former Notre Dame defensive coordinator, is the head coach there, just signed the extension. Why am I talking about a Georgia quarterback commit on a Notre Dame recruiting show? Well, guess what? If he flips to Vanderbilt, because he is so highly rated in the recruiting rankings, I don't know the math behind it, but I think Notre Dame is going to be much better situated to possibly jump Georgia and take that number 2 slot in the team rankings.
Yeah, it would make it close. And then, you have the postseason All-American games, which at this point, I don't know which Notre Dame guys are playing in them. It seems to be in flux. Kyle will have to dig on that a little bit more. But yeah, so there's still like all-star games / senior season playoff rankings to take place. So, it'll only help Notre Dame, right? Like that only helps Notre Dame, like, because then Georgia could slip or whatever. So that's huge. That's huge, man. Like it's a tremendous class. The blue chip ratio for Notre Dame sitting at a very strong 70%, which is just your amount of 4 and 5 stars committed. Anything over like 50 to 55% is pretty good for Notre Dame. I feel like you want to be over 60%. Just to compare, last year's class in 2025 was 56. Notre Dame's 2022 class, which finished number 6 overall, was a 77% blue chip ratio, but Notre Dame only had 22 commits in that class, whereas Notre Dame has 27 right now. So 70% is very damn good. Yeah, like I said, 56% blue chip last year, 57 in 2024. It's down to 48% in 2021, 59% in 2020. So you kind of catch the drift there. 73% in 2019, but again, only 22 commits. So when you're up to 27 commits and 77%, they're up at 86 in 2027. That's obviously very early in the 27 cycle, but it's very strong for the Irish. 0 in-state commitments, by the way. Average distance from a prospect's hometown in this 26 class for Notre Dame, 636 miles. Just a couple other little data points. And Kyle, I think the biggest thing right now, there's no one on our radar to flip from Notre Dame. The only commit for the Irish in the 26th class who has visited elsewhere this fall is Jonas Whitten, who, it's my understanding, our understanding, Kyle, that he did visit Alabama, but he was a guest of his brother. Like, he wasn't like a Georgia visitor. He was as much visiting as like if he was like an 8-year-old little brother, right? Like that's the kind of level he was quite literally tagging along. So he wasn't there to be recruited by Alabama. He just literally went with his brother. Jonas Whitten signing with Notre Dame. So like that's my point here. Like your Aiden Pouncey's of the world. I remember talking to Tom Lemming. Tom Lemming, oh man, public school kid from Orlando, all these ties to Florida. He's probably gonna flip. Pouncey's good. Joey O'Brien was the talk of the town. Oh man, Penn State and Oregon are gonna keep recruiting him. Penn State. Yeah, that's funny. Kari Adams, kind of the same talk. Penn State. Yeah, that's not happening, obviously. All these guys, like, even if Penn State didn't fire James Franklin, these guys were not going to Penn State. Like, they're not, like, no one in this class we're looking at wavering, Kyle. No one. Elijah Golden was someone like, oh man, dramatic recruitment down the stretch with Oklahoma, and then Auburn was calling him early in the fall. He's good. Everyone's good, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, a guy that I came across on the commit list the other day made me pause when I saw his name, Chaz Smith. Remember
Yeah.
a year ago at this time when he
Yeah.
committed?
We were reporting on. Sorry, Kyle. I'll give you the floor. I don't want to
No,
interrupt you.
no, you're fine. It's just like, I mean, we can be transparent. Like, there's some guys when they commit, like, sometimes you just wonder, like, is this gonna stick? Like, is this
Especially when
gonna
they
work?
come out of the blue.
Yeah, Chaz Smith, complete out of the blue. I think he committed after his first Notre Dame visit. He was trending elsewhere going
Clemson
into
or
like
A&M. I thought Notre Dame was trending third.
that's where all the predictions were, and then like we learned and that he was actually going to Notre Dame, and it was a stunner. And right away, like within the next month after he committed, he hosted the Michigan coaching staff at his house for an in-home visit. And it's like, okay, here we go. Like, this is what we were concerned about when Notre Dame took his commitment. Chess Smith has been completely locked in
Yeah.
down the stretch. And you mentioned some of the other guys who I was going to hit on as well as part of this conversation about, guys that were, maybe still listening to other schools, but that's all it was. Like, they were just being respectful with those coaching staffs. And the thing is like for Notre Dame, like when you're recruiting at this high of a level and you're involved with in these types of recruitments, like there's going to be some risk involved. Like usually, I mean, if you go through all the player rankings in the 26 cycle, I bet you can find 40 of the top 50 guys have probably visited elsewhere this season. You can't say that about any of the Notre Dame commits. The way they've been able to keep these guys locked in, really remarkable. I mean, I don't think we've seen anything like it. And the fact that they haven't had any decommits in this cycle, that's another just impressive stat. And I
Yeah.
know all the last thing, Mike, for me is I just know all the Notre Dame fans in the chat and who's probably listening back on podcasts are ready to rip their headphones right now because they think we're going to jinx them. I think, I mean, hey man, they've made it this far and it's gone this well, and I don't think a couple commentators on YouTube are going to really
Yeah.
have any impact on the outcome of Notre Dame's class. It's their job. It's the coaching staff and the recruiting staff job to keep these guys locked in and signed. And I don't expect any activity that would lead me to think otherwise will happen on Wednesday for signing day.
Especially with where signing day's at on the calendar. Before you would have anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months before signing it, back when it was in February only, like, that you would have home visits, and there's none of that. So it's like the season ends and your last chance to, if you're a school, to get a crack at hosting a kid and trying to sway him to your school, like, in person is this Saturday, I think, or maybe Sunday, and then Monday is starts a dead period, and signing day's on Wednesday. The whole recruiting calendar has to be reworked. It is a complete mess where signing day is at, with conference championship games and the transfer portal and everything. Honestly, the best thing would be to just move back into February. The December signing day was really implemented to have coaches not have to babysit in January when they're traveling. But tough shit. Like, that's my thought right now to coaches complaining about it. Like, you make a lot of money. Go like, I think it would be best for the kids if it was back in February, but we'll let people who make a lot more money than I do decide those kind of things. But yeah, so I mean, I put in the title National Signing Day Preview. The short of it is Notre Dame's class is really damn good. They're not really involved with any. I don't have any names to give out to you guys in terms of who could be like commit 28 and then who could drop from the class. I got nothing for you. So that's where things stand for Notre Dame ahead of signing day. And again, we'll have much more preview content leading up to signing day. And then Kyle and I are, starting to prep work for signing day content. At blueandgold.com will 100% be the place to be with, updates on signing day, plus, different analysis articles, and then coverage of Marcus Freeman will meet with the media, and we're assuming Mike Martin, the general manager, will as well. So blueandgold.com will have all of the coverage there for you guys. And no one's doing Notre Dame recruiting coverage better than Blue and Gold, and no one's doing Game Day Fit better than Home Field, the exclusive apparel sponsor of this show. They have the 3 items up on the screen right now for folks watching on YouTube are new as of this fall. They're always getting new stuff in. So they're the premium collegiate apparel brand based out of Indianapolis, and they've built their name by making the most comfortable, officially licensed, vintage inspired collegiate gear out there. We're talking hoodies, crew necks, tees, bombers, bomber jackets, hats, you name it. I've been rocking the Home Field collection for a while now. Love having them as a sponsor for the past few years. I'm always rocking it. My wife is as well. So with the holiday season around the corner, pick up something for yourself, pick up something for a loved one. And then, I mean, Home Field has tons of schools that they have gear for. So if you got, I mean, literally an Akron fan in your family to Cincinnati to Kansas to TCU and SMU and Xavier and Youngstown State. I mean, you can get something for everyone in your family, and with your friends. So homefieldapparel.com, make sure you check it out. I'm guessing they have, I mean, just 20% off on their website right now. I don't know if they have more Black Friday kind of stuff, but how about that? At the top of the website, take 30% off almost everything with Home Field 30 at checkout. So the base offer is 20%. You can get 30% off on Black Friday. So make sure you check that out, homefieldapparel.com. All right, Kyle, let me check out what we got next. We get, latest on 5-star running back Kemon Spell. You may have already seen this from 5 days ago, but the key Notre Dame running back targets, the number 1 running back in the country per the 2027 Rivals Industry ranking, was predicted by Steve Wiltfong of Rivals to end up at Georgia around this time last month. Wiltfong predicted Spell to Notre Dame, of course, coming off of Spell's Notre Dame visits. Were you surprised to see this one, Kyle? I don't know if, let me check if any other Rivals insiders have followed suit. Just Steve predicting Spell to Georgia. This is exactly why I didn't predict Spell to Notre Dame, and I'm sure you didn't either. It was just like, I feel like this one's not done. A lot of people are thinking, Spell's a lock to Notre Dame. Just did not agree with that at all, and I pushed back on it and figured he would take more visits. Of course, Kyle, he's told you, as we've mentioned numerous times, he was one to decide closer to signing day. So just felt like this one was far from over, and I did not like a prediction at that point. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a feeling this isn't this isn't the first falling bomb for Spell. I mean, Steve Wiltfong predicted Kemon Spell to Notre Dame after he visited Notre Dame for the first time back in October. So the tune of this recruitment is changing often, and I'm going to be willing to bet this is not the last time that predictions are going to be flowing in for Kemon Spell to another school. I think that this recruitment's far from over.
Right.
I just to reiterate, as I've done so many times on this show, is I had a pretty extended and what's the word? Not transparent, but like candid conversation with Kemon Spell about a week after he decommitted to Penn State, and just to tell you guys how it is, I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with Kemon. He's always been pretty open with me and with his recruitment, and we talked for quite a bit, and he was very insistent that he wants to wait until signing day, which is December of 2026 to commit. So that's 13 months away. I don't think it's happening. I told Kemon there's no way it's going to end up happening, in my opinion. I think that it's going to be hard for him to wait that long. I think schools are going to make it hard on him to wait that long. But even if he doesn't wait 13 months, I still think he's probably going to wait longer than 13 hours after a visit to commit to a school. I think at a very least, in talking to Kemon, I see this going to official visits. Those seem to be an important part of the conversation. And the other point is Notre Dame's not going to go away here for a long time, and I know that Notre Dame has offered a couple more running backs in the 27 class. I know some fans that have and maybe concerned some fans that they're really falling behind in Kemon's recruitment and that he's really no longer considering Notre Dame. I don't think that's the case at all. I think even if there's not a lot of buzz about him with Notre Dame at certain points, I think the Irish are going to be in this one to the end. Like, this is a recruitment that Marcus Freeman is heavily invested in. There are a couple of those recruitments where Marcus Freeman has established a pretty strong presence. Marcus Fakatu, he's one from Orange Lutheran, the defensive lineman, and Kemon Spell's one that Freeman is 100% involved in. Notre Dame wants this guy bad, and they're not
Yeah.
going to give up on him. Even let's be clear, even if he were to commit to Georgia or elsewhere, Notre Dame's going to keep their foot on the gas. And I don't think Notre Dame is probably sweating this prediction either, because I think Notre Dame wants Kemon Spell to go throughout the recruiting process, because I don't think Notre Dame would have wanted to take his commitment in October, because they probably knew that there was going to be a strong chance he wanted to go and visit other schools. So I think with the way things are tracking right now with Kemon Spell's recruitment, there's nothing that, even though the Fong Bomb graphic came up with a prediction to Georgia, I haven't seen anything yet that has made me sound the alarms that Notre Dame fans need to be super concerned about, because I think this recruitment's got a long way to go.
Yeah, Jalen Side are very close with Spell. So I think if you're a Notre Dame fan, like you consider that relationship and that's going to keep Notre Dame in the running for the long haul. Indeed, agree with you on that, Kyle. So that's Kemon Spell. Long way to go for the former Penn State commitments. He is the number one running back in the country, and yeah, like we're saying, it's such a long way to go. I'm not sweating it. Even if he did commit to Georgia, that's fine. Just keep working on. We'll keep taking visits. When he committed to Penn State, he did so without really visiting anywhere. He
He
committed there as
he didn't visit anywhere. It was only Penn State.
it was
It was,
August of
yeah.
2024. So
Remember what I said, a couple months ago with Kemon Spell, that the Penn State decommitment was not the worst thing to happen to Notre Dame, but it definitely made things a little bit more challenging in this recruitment. I think that's still the case. Now that he's reopened it, it's
fully open to everyone.
teams are coming and going, man. We heard about Miami making a big move for him a couple weeks ago when he went down to Coral Gables. Interesting enough, he was supposed to visit Ohio State, I think. It was the first weekend of November. I think, ironically, when they played Penn State, he didn't show up to Columbus for that trip. So
Right.
I
Right.
know that there's been some talk about the Buckeyes in this recruitment. I don't think Ohio State
You remember what
is.
Jeremy Birmingham reported? He was like, I think this bodes very, very well for Notre Dame. And I was like, bam, I don't know what you're hearing that I'm not, but
Well, so I think the outside perception of Kemon Spell's recruitment was that he was going to commit fast, and that I think that a lot of national inside. I mean, a lot of the reporting from a lot of people were that I think they expected this for his recruitment to finish up sometime soon. But as I said, I mean, I talked to Kemon about this.
yeah,
I've talked to sources close to Kemon, like that's. I have not been under the impression that thing. Now, this was I last talked to him about a month and a
yeah,
half ago, so something could have changed. I'm just saying that at least in the immediate aftermath after his Notre Dame visit, even though we heard like how great the trip went and that Wilt Fong predicted Will Spell to commit to Notre Dame, I personally didn't feel like
right,
anything was imminent. So
yeah. Uh, folks, college football season is winding down, but the tailgates are still going. The grills are fired up. Everyone is so excited entering the stadium, but getting the actual tickets can be a total pain in the rear end. You get stuck in queues, jumping through logins. You watch the prices spike right when you're about to check out, when all you want to do is be in the building cheering on your favorite team. That's why you got to check out GameTime, which gives the advantage back to the fans It's very easy to use. It's fast, and the game time guarantee means that the tickets are 100% legit and show up on time at the best price. And the fees are included. What you see is what you pay. There's no surprise. Hey, here's an extra $20 garbage at checkout. You can check it out for yourself, and you'll see tickets as low as $25. Open the app, check out some seat views right on your phone, pick the section you want, and boom, you're done in a few minutes. The zone deals are impressive as well. You pick the section, and Game Time will pick the seat, so you save even more. It's the easiest ticket app that you're going to use. You can follow your favorite team and get alerts when good deals pop up. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Again, make an account, redeem code ON3 so you save some money. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, Mr. Kelly.
Are you going to the World Cup?
It's a great question. I would hope to, but
are all those games? Where are those games? Like, is AT&T Stadium having one? Are they all across the United States?
All across the country. I think there's one or two in Canada, probably a couple in Mexico. I'm going to be honest, hot take, as much of a soccer guy as I am, I'm not like needing to go to the World Cup. For me, going to England to see a Liverpool game is much more. I've been to USA soccer games on big stages. The World Cup, it just depends, man. Like, I'm trying, but I'm not looking to spend several $100s to thousands of dollars on going to a World Cup game. So
I got one more question for you with the World Cup. The U.S. is playing it this time around, right?
That's correct.
Did they not play last time, or certainly not the previous time? I thought they'd been out of it for
in the World Cup. No, they're always in the World Cup.
Really?
They've qualified. Yeah,
I think swear they did not qualify like 4 years ago, or maybe it was 8
They
years
definitely did. They got bounced by the Netherlands, I believe, in like the round of 16 or something. Yeah. No Justin ND Sniper says, I saw that the 26 class had moved up to number 3 recently. It's almost as if you saw my tweet. Probably. I don't know where else you would have seen it. I just tweeted about it. Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the show, Justin. So, yeah, some good stuff on that. Kyle, it's not in the show notes, but Notre Dame got a new commitment, and I talked about it with Landon Tangwall. So let me give you the floor real quick. I've talked about this at length, but Amari Irvin, what are your thoughts about this commitment for the Irish? Their second linebacker pledged in the 27 class.
Thought you did a heck of a job reporting on this recruitment. You were ahead of it before everyone else with the prediction of Irvin to Notre Dame, and I'm trying to remember if I told you or not, or if I even told myself, but I interviewed Irvin back in the summer. I think you knew as much of that, but I'm trying to think if I remember when I interviewed him, coming away from that conversation, that I felt Notre Dame was in it. I feel like when I interviewed him, I felt like Notre Dame was in a good spot. I didn't imagine they were going to be in this good of a spot this fast.
Yeah.
But, man,
you just look at the brother thing and you assume. And you know what they say about the word assume? His brother decommitted from Notre Dame, Irish, if you want to use the word drop, whatever. There you go. That's what they say about assume.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit surprised with how fast it came together, but yeah, this is I wrote, as I do with every commitment, about share some thoughts on it on Blue and Gold. You can always check those stories out, but one of the big takeaways from this is the fact that Notre Dame finally has a commitment from recruit from IMG. They've been trying to get in there for a few years now, and Marcus Freeman has made, I know for sure, at least one trip down to IMG during the recruiting periods. Probably more than that, if I had to guess. Definitely more than that. Notre Dame has sent, I don't know if it's every coach on their coaching staff, but they've sent a lot of different guys to IMG throughout the year. And they've tried hard. In the last cycle, they looked really good at various points for a couple linebackers, Nathaniel Usu-Boateng and Gavin Nix last cycle. We thought at one point Gavin Nix was going to go to Notre Dame. Like, there was a couple points where Owusu-Boateng, the younger brother of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who played for Notre Dame, we felt Owusu-Boateng would end up Irish. Notre Dame never got it over the finish line with either of those guys, but they do so with Irvin. Despite, as you mentioned, that his brother, Cedric Irvin, was verbally committed to the Irish in the 23 cycle. He ended up signing with Stanford. This is a big deal for Notre Dame because, IMG is, one of the most nationally recognized schools in the high school football ranks. Always have a great group of prospects. There's only probably a handful of schools that can compete with the amount of talent that IMG has on an annual basis. And, Notre Dame is, as I mentioned, they've tried to get back in there for years. The last recruit they signed from there was Houston Griffith back in the 2018 cycle. I think they got Robert Hainsey and maybe someone else the year before in 2017.
Tony Jones. I believe Tony Jones was a IMG kid.
I think he might have been 2016, but yeah,
Something
right
like
around there.
Yeah.
Fun fact: 2017 was my recruiting year. Not that my only college letter was from I think it was a Division II school, or maybe it was D3.
They sent it to the wrong house.
Well, they sent it to the wrong high school, I would say, because looking back on it, I always get a kick of myself because I'm thinking, yeah, this is not athletics really. It's like they want me to think that I have a chance to play football for their school just so they can get my enrollment and therefore my money for tuition. So I always got a kick out of that. But where was I going with this conversation? Oh, yeah. It's been since 2018. Notre Dame's got someone from IMG now. They did get an offensive lineman back in 2021. I forget the guy's name, but
Greg Crippen.
Yeah,
Notre Dame parted ways with.
Did you cover that? Oh, okay, so they dropped him. Interesting. Well, I wish I would.
I don't think I think he actually ended up doing really well at Michigan, so I don't know if that was the right move. But 21 was the year they signed Fisher and Alt, so they're and Spindler and Coogan, so they ended up being pretty loaded in that class.
I mean, I want to see kind of what you think. Do you think it's a big deal Notre Dame's back at IMG now?
I don't. Bo, my boy Bo in the chat says, let's hope this opens up the pipeline to IMG. The staff changes all the time at IMG.
So many times.
Yeah, it changes a lot. Now? The players cycle through like it. I think this. You keep recruiting IMG and it helps with, whatever administration. And there's definitely coaches that stay for a while, I'm sure. But yeah, it does seem like it's a revolving door. It's like coaches, it can be kind of like a stopgap job for a college coach who's maybe doesn't have like a step up and kind of goes back down to go back. It can kind of be like that, or a lot of like retired NFL guys, kind of looking to get into the coaching ranks. Like that's kind of been my read on IMG, but it doesn't hurt, obviously. But I'm not like, oh man, now they're just gonna start getting all these guys from IMG. It's not really.
I don't think so.
It's not really how it goes.
I think the big thing is just like now that they've done it, like it's possible. Like because they've been trying for so long and they just haven't been able to get a guy.
Yeah.
So now they have a guy, and like you say, it's hard to like keep ties to that school because there is just so much, much staff.
Yeah, so for sure. Well, bro, I'm not gonna lie, this prediction was pretty badass. This little story. So this was October 6th. The first comment here. I don't see it. Got to be some bad blood for the dropping its brother. Says Justin on Twitter. Like, listen, bro. You think I wouldn't have already taken that into consideration when I did the prediction? Like, oh man, yeah, that was all good, dude. It was all good. October 6th. It was a pretty. I even put in the tweet. It's bold. Sources I talked to at the time when I did those 9 predictions, when they mentioned Irvin, I'm like, Irvin, really? I had the same concerns as you guys did, but they were right. Like I put in the tweet, it's bold. Pat myself on the back.
What about Aiden Pouncey, man? Aiden.
What?
Notre Dame proved in 80. Notre Dame improved in Aiden Pouncey's recruitment that they can, get a brother of a former decommit.
Yeah.
Real quick, Mike. Do you want to talk about this? My friend just texted me because I think it'd be an interesting show topic. We don't have to dive into it extensively, but Cooper Whitten. That's not include Notre Dame in his top 10.
Yeah. I thought when I saw Hayes Fawcett tweeted, and I could pull it up. I was like, all right, so I just see the tweet. Cooper Whitten announced his top 10 or 12. Is it 10 or 12?
I think it was 10.
It's like, all right, I could see Notre Dame on it. Wouldn't have been surprised if Notre Dame didn't make it. That's kind of how I felt. Like, he hasn't been to campus in forever, so I just think like maybe he gets back in the spring, but otherwise I'm not like optimistic here. I was very optimistic and maybe even thinking about a prediction, April or so, but now it's just like, kind of think the Irish are on the outside looking in of this top 10. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, no, that's kind of how I feel. And this isn't the first message I've gotten about Cooper Whitten since they dropped the top 10. So I felt like it was worth just addressing because, I mean, he hasn't been to campus this fall. And what stuck out to me, and I think I've actually said this on the show before, but when I think it was Steve Wiltfong and Sam Spiegelman interviewed Cooper Whitten before the season about some of his early favorites, and Notre Dame wasn't mentioned. And I think that really stuck out to me because, I mean, I just remember talking to, people, familiar with this recruitment back in the spring and, the early summer, and it sounded like Notre Dame was one of the schools setting the pace. Like, I thought Notre Dame had a great chance, but for whatever reason, seems like Notre Dame is kind of falling on the backside, as you mentioned, of these top schools. I think seems like Texas A&M's in it, Tennessee, where Jason Witten, his father, went, will be a school to watch. I know he likes Clemson. Follow the visits, Mike, as you've said, and he's really kind of leaned into some of the Southern schools this cycle. So, I don't see it with Notre Dame, and I think their last shot at him is probably getting him up in January because if he doesn't make it to campus within the next 2 months or so, I think this recruitment's probably sailed.
On November 24th, wrote an article headlined "Inside the Notre Dame Personnel Office: The Roles, Responsibilities, and Staff Shaping Irish Recruiting." It's a free story. I didn't want to put this behind a paywall. I really wanted everyone, or as many people as possible, to be able to read about these Notre Dame staffers. Jordan Blake, of course, Myron Tungavloa Amosa, Carter Almond, to Becca Seitz and Ariella Ellis, Mike Martin. And then, kind of your analysts / just recruiting associates, Justice Bathis, Trey Reeder, a former Notre Dame linebacker who medically retired and is now on the staff. Tim Brown Jr., son of Notre Dame legend and Heisman winner. Stu Hamilton, Dylan Altman, of course, like Anthony Trush and Matt Jensen, and the kind of, not necessarily recruiting office guys, but help out with recruiting from like an analytics / scouting piece. So highly, highly recommend. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. I don't know if the link will be able to be like clickable, but whatever, I'll just drop it there. I thought this article turned out amazing. Eric Hansen told me a couple times, he proofread this article for me and said that he learned some new things about these guys. He's like, this is like a really cool evergreen piece. That's, information's not going to go stale soon. So I had a great time writing it. Kyle, did you learn anything reading this article for someone who covers this daily like I do?
Haven't read it yet, and that's embarrassing.
Alrighty then.
I'm the blue and gold recruiting reporter, and I've not read the recruiting story yet. So,
all right, well, that was a fun segment, but I thought it was great. Like,
dude, for what it's worth, I've had so much work to do this week.
All got a lot of shit to do, Kyle. I'm with you, but damn, you didn't read my article. It is a long read. But like, what does the director of recruiting advancement mean? Like, what does Mike Martin's role as a general manager mean? Go to blueandgold.com. You can like click on my author profile, scroll down. Wrote it on November 24th, so would highly recommend you reading that. Kyle, this has been on the list to talk about for quite some time, and just things pop up and we don't get to this. But Notre Dame 2026 class. So it's like, who's still alive in the playoffs? Who's been really impressing as a senior? You obviously write about the Notre Dame commits with their stats. So who's really been balling out this season?
Well, yeah, I will talk about that and then what's happening this week. but
Let's start with what's happening this week. Like, who's still alive?
Okay, so 15 guys are still alive, and after this week, only 13 are guaranteed to be alive, or there's only a maximum of 13 possible after this week because 4 Notre Dame commits are playing each other. I think that's the right way to phrase that. There's 2 games that feature Notre Dame commits playing each other. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but basically, Independence, so Charlotte Independence and Nick Reddish, the safety, they're playing linebacker Thomas Davis Jr. in Weddington. That's a 4th round North Carolina playoff.
Hey, Kyle.
Yep.
I got to bounce. I'm just going to give you the floor to talk about these things.
Okay. Fine. Yeah, so 15 guys still alive, and of those games, one game is hi Mike.
Sorry, Kyle. There you
go. Yeah, so one game is Charlotte Independence High School, which features Notre Dame safety commit Nick Reddish, and he is playing Notre Dame linebacker commit Thomas Davis Jr. That's a 4th round North Carolina playoff game. Also, in Georgia, 2 Notre Dame commits playing each other. Running back Jonas Walton, undefeated Carrollton Central Lions team. So, Central High School in Carrollton, Georgia, going to Savannah to play Benedictine Military School in Notre Dame. Bubba Frazier, the wide receiver. So, yeah, 2 games featuring Notre Dame commits. So, unfortunately, that means 2 Notre Dame commits are going to lose this week, but potential for over a dozen of these guys to advance to the next round. And Mike, when he kind of introduced this topic, wanted to talk about some of the top performers this season among the Notre Dame commits. I'll tell you what, I have been doing the Notre Dame commit tracker on Blue and Gold for 3 years, and I did it for 1 year on Rival. So that I've done this for 4 seasons now, where every single week I write about the Notre Dame commits, how they performed in their high school games. In these 4 years, I have never been more impressed than I was last week by some of the performances. I mean, the stats that these guys put up was absolutely remarkable. I'm just going to read you some of them here because what these guys are doing for their high school teams, especially in the playoffs, it's ridiculous. So just highlighting a couple from last week. So Devin Fitzgerald, Notre Dame's wide receiver commit, son of Larry Fitzgerald. This guy, he had, let's see here, just pulling this up.
I'm back, Kyle.
Yep, you're fine. I'm just going through some of the performances last week real quick because they were unbelievable. So Devin Fitzgerald, 14 catches, 253 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Damn. In one game?
One game. That's
more than I had my entire senior season.
So that's a bunch of school records. Noah Grubbs.
Against Chandler. Chandler is legit, too.
Javian Osborne, 301 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. I think that helped him secure a couple school records as well. Javian Osborne, Jonas Walton had 281 yards from scrimmage and 4 touchdowns. And then even a guy like Ian Premer, who his team lost last week, and unfortunately that was his only game this season without a touchdown, but he played defense. Dude had 15 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, sack, forced fumble, and fumble recovery. So, I mean, the performance of some of these guys are just absolutely insane. And the one key takeaway is, so as I mentioned, I've done these commit trackers for 4 years. And every year there's a couple guys I'm tracking throughout the season. I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, they're not really performing well. And that, I'm kind of like, all right, are these guys Notre Dame caliber? It's just like, it's just like you're kind of disappointed with the way some of the seasons are going. That has not been the case with any of these guys. All these guys have played so well throughout their senior years. So going to be coming to South Bend with a lot of momentum. All but 2 of these guys early enrolling. I know we get that question all the time, and I think we still have to 100% confirm who all the early enrollees are, but think last we've heard, man, it's only Ian Premer, the tight end, and Gregory Patrick, the lineman, who will not be at Notre Dame.
I do have one more item to add to that, but I'll report at blueandgold.com, and I'm sure we'll talk about it at a later date on our YouTube channel. Do have to give the priority to our paid subscribers over on our website, blueandgold.com. So, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, Noah Grubbs has already broken a ton of school records, and Grubbs is got to be breaking like county and state records as well. So many football games he's played. It's got to be upwards of 50 at the high school level, which is just ridiculous. So Noah Grubbs.
Let me add one more thing about this, if you don't mind. It's just that not only have the single or like the individual player performances been super impressive each week, but I don't ever recall writing about this many Notre Dame commits still alive this late in the season. So, like I said, 15 of these guys are still playing games. Like, these guys are winners, man. They're all these guys are going to be coming to Notre Dame, man. They know how to win football games, and I don't think that can be understated.
Yeah,
It's Notre Dame has a long established culture now under Marcus Freeman of winning a lot of football games, and now he's bringing recruits into the fold who they come from high school programs that are still alive here entering December. So I don't think that can be, like I said, understated. And not only are the individual performances outstanding, but the fact that these guys know how to win some football games is a pretty big deal.
folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. That is going to wrap up this show. If you're just tuning in, you're like, wait, where's the signing day preview? Where's the Kemon Spell update? Rewind, watch at the beginning of the show. Talked about a lot there. Justin, Paolo, Bo, everyone watching live, watching back. Terrence, Jay Patterson, really appreciate you guys for tuning in to this week's Notre Dame recruiting update. Hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your weekend. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff for Notre Dame against Stanford. We're going to have a preview video out later this afternoon with myself and Tyler James previewing that game. And we will be live after the Notre Dame Stanford contest. It'll be me, Eric, and Robbie Toma. It won't be late for Robbie. Will be for me and Eric in Eastern Time Zone, after 1 a.m. or so. Again, talking about Notre Dame Stanford. So make sure you join us if you are up that late. Again, hit the thumbs up if you have not done so yet. Go to our Twitter pages, go to blueandgold.com, find out more information about that Black Friday deal we have at blueandgold.com. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.